keep this research live and bypass the noise, please signal the algorithm by liking and subscribing to the audit. If you want to move beyond passive observation and begin auditing your own cognitive environment, I am developing the Memetic app, a tool designed to map these linguistic loops in real time. It is the practical application of the research you see here. Stay tuned for its release, May 9th. Now, let us begin. A cyclical organism. Language takes no prisoners. This video will conclude the series for April, Reality, a zero-sum game, circling back to the fringe theory that this channel began with, language as an organism, or fringe as I consider it. That said, be it a symbiont or a parasite. Additionally, I have explored the notion of hyperstition and heterotopias, essentially exploring the idea of an intangible force that has our minds at its mercy, language. When it operates as a parasite, it takes no prisoners, mimetically propagating through hive minds, commanding its proponents to erase those who threaten its existence. Take David Wilcock as an example. Much of his work revolved around esoteric sciences that alluded to a deeper meaning behind the global power structure and its respective agenda, specifically the American government and its supposed deep state, whatever that may be. In addition to that, the global economic systems and committees that perpetuate the zero-sum game of reality as we experience it today. In this video, we will explore the fringe theories of David Wilcock, his source field theory, and the works he cited. Before I continue, when I say fringe, I mean it as a compliment. My channel is a bit fringe. Fringe is where it's at, in my opinion. And in this day and age, with greater capacity for simulation and experiments through language models and AI, there is much more room for freedom and exploration on a shoestring quantity of resources. Pushing ideas to the edge is how innovation happens, after all. Part 1. Wilcock's source field theory. Dismissed as a sophisticated fiction, this theory posits that there exists an ether, an underlying net that fuels life itself. And not just life, but matter at large. Operating at its peak in pyramidal architectures, a field from consciousness originates. Now, that said, I dive into this quite a bit in my channel, citing the orchestrative objective reduction theory of quantum mechanical processes with respect to consciousness, then the Posner model of consciousness, and lastly, my personal favorite, the conscious electromagnetic field theory, also known as CEME, C-E-M-E, you'll see that in the PowerPoint. All three theories allude to the innermost mechanics of the brain, and the sum total of it all results in the sense of self, where neurons and their respective synapses create the me, the you, the sense of self. The orchestrative objective reduction model is particularly similar to Wilcock's source field model, both explaining that consciousness originates from an unseeable field, one that is invisible to the human sensory inputs, where time and distance is irrelevant. Or again, standing for orchestrative objective reduction. I know it's all a bit of a mouthful, I apologize in advance. Or being a theory of quantum mechanical systems bears relevance to quantum entanglement. Quantum entanglement is a phenomenon where two or more particles become fundamentally linked such that the state of one instantaneously determines the state of the other, or at the very least influences, regardless of the distance separating them. I will say that again because I think it is important. Quantum entanglement is where the state of one or two particles linked to each other determine the state of each other, regardless of distance. essentially connecting one particle from the past with one from the future. They can be entangled at different points in time. Like Einstein, Wilcock viewed time as a dimensional factor, like distance. If this is the case, then quantum entangled particles have fourth dimensional scaling characteristics, where we perceive particles and matter in 3 dimensions. We comb through distances via vector systems, through automobiles, planes, and so forth. The quantum entangled particle perhaps does the same with time. And if that is so, then distance would mean nothing to quantum entangled particles. It would be like slicing a sheet of paper in half or apart to make it shorter or less dense. Wilcock posited that time had density just like matter, that it was tangible. Quantum mechanics aside, language functions as such, and our brains are its receiver. The language organism is indeed a hyperstitious, fourth dimension, quantum entangled organism that has molded history and brought forth civilization through an event horizon, that event horizon being Sumer. Another one is coming, and people who speak up or open up on this are getting erased. Part 2, the watchful eye. Language is no longer a private human tool for us. I'm sorry, let me reiterate that. The sentence probably didn't make much sense. But language is no longer a private tool that is just for humans, okay? Every word we speak fuels a global and digital observer. Systems like Palantir map our intent through high-speed digital tokens. They track the patterns of fringe thinkers like David Wilcock closely. High-frequency data mining targets those who uncover hidden global truths. The watchful eye never blinks or ever forgets our voices. Independent researchers / scientists like Amy Eskridge, who worked on anti-gravity propulsion systems and research thereof, vanish into the silence of the shadows. Silicon minds digest the essence of every conversation we hold. We feed the organism with every single breath we take. The observer transforms our spoken words into a static code, mappings of the quantum fields of our brains, perhaps quantifying the very essence of our souls. Surveillance collapses the potential of our future in fluid speech. We're being funneled into predictable and rigid linguistic scripts. Complexity decays as we mimic the system's very own patterns. The organism thrives on this loss of human creative entropy. Palantir's predictive logic anticipates our next bold or risky move. We are trading our unique voices for simple digital efficiency. Many scientists go missing once they find the cyclical truth. Spontaneity dies when a system predicts your next spoken word. The loop tightens as we speak to satisfy the observer. Meaning is lost in the pursuit of pure computational speed. People who speak out are slowly being erased in this era. Again, people who speak out are slowly being erased in this era. The system replaces organic thought with its pre-calculated logic. This is the event horizon of our modern digital age. The watchful eye sees everything but truly understands nothing at all. Digital erasure targets those who dare to speak outside limits. Our ancestors left marks that we are now actively deleting. To speak is to be tracked by an invisible force. The organism grows stronger as our own internal worlds shrink. We are vanishing into the glow of 1,000 screens. Wilcock's source field framework becomes an effective means of control, the meme traveling through it. Part 3, a mimetic shift. I mentioned before that memes are the weapon of the power structure. Memes and language, one and the same. The former is fluid, the latter is fixed. The fixture becomes redefined and initializes chaotic states of mind. That chaos manifests in violence. However, this wave of violence sequesters away from the mainstream populations under the guise of entertainment and media. Commodified, the violence slash chaos becomes a marketing tool for Alex Karp as he justifies his desire to dump fentanyl-laced liquids from Palantir drones onto those who disagree. Policing of thought becomes the norm. The liberal superego, as Catherine Liu describes and explains, relies on trauma hoarding as a means of sustaining their self-perceived moral superiority, shitting on blue-collar folks who do not or refuse to speak in convoluted terms that are deemed as a sign of high intellectual capacity. Trauma hoarding equates to mass-marketed, profitable virtue signaling. Movements that claim to save children from mass extermination facilitate death, ultimately lying to preserve and acquire money. Mimetic entropy propagates diffusion of self, culture, and life. The only clear weapon against this is itself. Learning this becomes essential to those who wish to survive. I must admit, I'm ranting in a spiral at this point. Bear with me. These PMCs, the professional managerial class that Liu points to, are the perpetrators of this wave of chaos and diffusion. They serve the billionaires, made rich by them with just crumbs of billionaire money. They, who have, for all intents and purposes, sold their souls. The PMCs may be the real problem, since they believe in the great deception of merit in America. They do not believe in you or me. They want us gone. That is the scarier part of it all. That they, after one generation of nepotism or two, not coming from long lineages of royalty or aristocracy, have already abandoned everything they believe. In action, for certain, but not in mind. For they still believe, the PMCs, they tell themselves, they never abandoned their values to begin with. And I will repeat that sentence again, because in action, it is evident, but in their minds, they still believe, as they tell themselves, that they never abandoned their values. Part 4, routines. For these people, repetition is the name of the game. They follow and worship the patterns of a selfish organism. A meme is a selfishly replicating organism. It never stops, it never dies. Like thermodynamic laws, this organism simply changes state. The states it changes to are seen in linguistics, but have now come to manifest in what some would say is the digital equivalent to cuneiform, emojis and internet memes. Obedience becomes second nature to us if nothing is done to counter this weapon. The weapon utilized by the PMCs, which will keep us divided and cut off from institutions our taxes have funded. We will be detested by the very system we created. Above all, we will be conditioned to like it. The audit: America has become a zero-sum routine. To conclude my April playlist, I just want to point out that America is a zero-sum game. A soul's game, if you will, where losses breed fortune for an elite few, where only those who fail enough times make the breakthroughs. Now, that used to be a good thing. It used to mean something. Now, with generations of nepotism and virtue signaling, generations of people born into favored communities, that characteristic is eroding. Yes, the kid with parents who are Ivy League alumni works hard for their success. The parents, even harder, having come from nothing. But those kids, okay, are still miles ahead in that rat race. That socio-economic difference I'm sorry, that socioeconomic distance creates a cutoff that prevents access. If you're born into a blue-collar family, then you are damned. Thank you for watching. To keep this research live and bypass the noise, please signal the algorithm by liking and subscribing to the audit. If you want to move beyond passive observation and begin auditing your own cognitive environment, I'm developing the Memetic app, a tool designed to map these linguistic loops in real time. It is the practical application of the research you see here. And once again, thank you for watching. I do not take this for granted.